Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode number 28. This is Ryan Higgins. I'm joined by...
Brock Sager.
Hello, Brock.
Hello, Ryan.
All right, so this is our first of a two-part, 6-hour-long series where me and Brock will be discussing every DC number 2 issue, starting with the ones that came out last week. I think, Brock, let's start with... No, I'm actually just totally joking.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're going to... We'll do it again, but not...
Anytime soon. Maybe we'll do a 6-month, how are these series 6 months down the road, and how are these series a year down the road or something. I think we need to... those episodes were long. If you enjoyed those, actually, those 2.5 hour long episodes, let us know. I actually had to bump up the bandwidth on our podcast server to cover those episodes, so hopefully they were worth the extra bucks. If you hate them and you want more 45-minute, hour-long episodes, let me know as well. I guess I don't care either way. I can talk like this all day, so it doesn't matter.
Talk like this all day.
I do talk like this all day. Well, we're going to go back to a slightly more regular episode here.
I know, we're actually going to have random pick this week.
As regular as can be. Brock, I think you got an email there you want to read.
I got an email.
I've got like 58 unread emails here, so if your email has not been read or responded to, just bear with me. I think we'll get to him at some point.
Yeah, bear with Ryan. He's a very busy person trying to figure out how many copies of Point 1 to order.
Oh, I got that sorted out.
So this is from Dave. Thank you for not including your last name because we butchered those like there's no tomorrow. He says, "Hello, gents. Loving the show. Please keep up the good work. As a DC fan, I'm loving the injection of life brought into the universe with the relaunch. I've picked up and really enjoyed characters that prior to this I'd not read. Animal Man, Resurrection Man, and Frankenstein, etc. Nice. My question, though, is what are your favorite discontinued comic series that didn't pick up enough of a following and went the way of the dodo? I got into comics after inheriting from a friend a short-lived Marvel UK book called Dragon Claws, post-apocalyptic world where teams fight each other to the death for the sake of entertaining the world. I also love Desolation Jones by Warren Ellis and would love to be able to read more like this. Anyway, long email, so my apologies. Keep up the great work. And Ryan, stop talking over Brock all the time. I lose count how many times in an episode he gets interrupted midpoint. Dave, you are an amazing, amazing individual, and thank you for pointing that out.
You know, I'd like to just say, what he was saying there in that email, I have never talked over Brock once. I don't know what you're talking about, Brock.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about either.
Well, Brock, if you actually added something to this podcast instead of just
I know
hating on
everything,
on all the rejiggered Wonder Woman comics,
Hey, my girlfriend didn't like it, and she likes Wonder Woman.
Maybe I wouldn't talk over you.
So anyway, you're a dick. So yeah, comic books that have gone the way of the dodo.
I mean, that's it's a hard question to ask only because. Or it's a hard question to answer, I'm sorry, because they all do eventually.
Yeah.
Unless you're Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman,
X-Men.
The original stuff.
Yeah.
Any B-list and below character goes away eventually. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've actually gotten into a lot more obscure characters because of reading more DC and stuff like that. And for Marvel, it's weird. I've always been into kind of obscure characters like... Guardians of the Galaxy and Nova, a lot of the space stuff that kind of just gets played up for a little bit and then tossed to the side. I'm actually interested in reading the Micronauts comic book.
Did you watch the show or like the figures or anything, or wasn't there a show, or were they just figures?
I think they were just figures.
Yeah, I know there were a lot of figures, but I never got into Micronauts.
I don't know. It seems like space stuff. They cross over with a couple of characters.
It'll never be reprinted. That's the bit.
Yeah, that's the problem. But quarter bin diving. Here I come. I mean, I'm exceedingly excited that they're reprinting Resurrection Man in trade, so we can check that out. I just finished restocking Hitman for the store, so I know, are those trades OOP?
No, they've started coming back out again.
They started coming back out again?
Yeah, they redid the Hitman trades along with, the same time as the new Suicide Squad, the Question, sort of in that same sort of a more standardized format, because the old trades are sort of all weird sizes.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Dragon Claws?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's part of the Marvel UK stuff.
Yeah.
There was a whole bunch of Marvel UK books that they actually put out here as well. I want to say there's a number that didn't come out here. If any UK guys know, because I know they did.
It was a Death's
Head.
Head.
Well, Death's Head was sort of the one that made the transition over here.
And then Megatech,
Captain Marvel, Captain Britain back in like the early '80s. John Byrne brought him over. Chris Claremont brought him over in or was it John Byrne in Marvel Team Up? So he came over. And then in the 90s, they took a lot of their Marvel UK stuff and did various series here. Brian Hitch was on part of that, Alan Davis. So there's some really good creators that came out of that stuff that have now do some pretty big work for Marvel US.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and back to the Desolation Jones. Wasn't Desolation Jones in one of the comic books that came out with the 52?
I read something that he was in a background scene in one of the books that just came out, or one of the books that's coming out. I saw he was in the background of some comic.
Yeah. Because I read that, I heard that as well in On the Grapevine. That is the wonderful world of the internet, and getting tons of information instantaneously. Which, by the way, I get overloaded every day.
Yeah, Desolation Jones was in the background of Batwoman #2.
Yeah.
The one that just came out this past week.
Right. So, yeah. I don't know. Is there any discontinued comics that...
Well, I mean, absolutely. You know, I'm a huge fan of the New Warriors. I've mentioned them numerous times. I mean, that's the first book I really read. Characters that came out of that, like Darkhawk. Well, involved Darkhawk, Nova. I mean, I really like a lot of those guys. You know, there's so many books that are canceled. Yeah. You know, it's real hard for any book, like I said, that's not one of the 25 major characters to continue for very long. You know, and some of them work well. There was actually a lot of stuff during the 90s. DC had a pretty good run, 90s, 2000 era. Right around the time of Hitman, DC 1 Million, that's when the Martian Manhunter series was coming out, the Hour Man series was coming out, the robot version. Resurrection Man was around the same time. A lot of those books, DC had a nice run of kind of real quirky, mainstream characters all ship around the same time. There's some cool stuff in there. Vexed. I think it was Keith Giffen. Was that Keith Giffen that did that? There's a bunch of just, you know, books that you'd never see today. Just a lot of experimental kind of newer or new takes on characters. Chronos. So there was a bunch of cool stuff. I mean, Marvel's, especially when we're talking Marvel and DC, I mean, they're the king of these weird, obscure characters that never come back. Or, you know, come back once every decade. They put a new series on them. So, yeah, there's all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, no, Speedball had his own series.
Yeah, it did.
And then Penance.
It was terrible.
Penance was the next one.
I would say the Penance series is better than the Speedball series.
Wow. And you hate Penance.
I do, but it's just that original Speedball series, it was like the last thing Steve Ditko ever did in comics. He was like the last character he ever created. And it's not good. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. It's really bad.
It looks like it's aimed more towards kids instead of, like...
It's that Spider-Man style, but it was done in the 80s. And this is an unfortunate fact that a lot of people, when they don't use their craft often, they sort of lose it.
Yeah.
So this was a much later Steve Ditko and just was not up to the par of those early Spidey issues.
Because didn't Steve Ditko do that really good run on Nick Fury? Back in the... Who did that?
No, you're thinking of... oh my god, I'm going to totally make my brain here. You're thinking of Jim Steranko.
Jim Steranko, that's
No. He...
That'd actually be a series I'd like to see collected and traded, is that old Nick Fury stuff. It is? It's still in print?
I don't know about that. It should be.
Okay.
Yeah, should be. Yes. Unless you like Superman and Spider-Man only, every series you like is a lost series. So.
Yeah, you know.
All right, I got an email here from Dustin. He says, "Hey, conspirators, how lame am I? I don't know.
What context?
I have a problem that I think Higgins might know well. Okay, see, I have an issue with the way this email started here, because he asks how lame he is, and then he has an issue that I should be well aware of. So is he inferring that I am lame as well?
I tell you to your face, you're a loser.
I have trouble getting the things if I don't start from the beginning, like Doctor Who. We talk Doctor Who on the Geekbox a lot, and that's been one of my things is I want to watch it from the beginning. I want to get back into comics. I read them as a kid. So far, I started reading some of the major events of the past 30 years for both Marvel and DC by advice. but it was bothering me that I was missing a lot of the history. Is there any way to catch up without going through 80 years of content or reading Wikipedia? If I start a relaunch, I don't want to start with the New 52, I want something a little older, or the modern age, quote-unquote. Will I miss anything that happens from the Golden Age or the Silver Age? I know the Golden Age Flash returns at some point, and then it makes me feel like I should start with the Golden Age. I also want to know if the older incarnations of characters before... Oh, I want to know the older incarnations of the characters before I get into the new ones. There are way too many heroes and teams. I want to get into a list of all of them and ask which ones to catch up. I'm hoping there may be something I could do without reading 80 years ago, but I'm willing to have enough time to do that. How did you deal with this, Ryan? Are you not this bad? Good Lord, no, I'm not that bad. It's basically impossible.
Yeah, no, you can't do it.
The only way you can do it, realistically, is to go onto BitTorrent, download complete scan of all the books, because you're not going to be able to afford these. They have not, in no way, shape, or form, have anything near all of these books been reprinted. Let's just take a simple book like Action Comics, just one book, Action Comics. You have 904 issues plus the 2 regular issues. It went weekly for a while, so roughly 70 years plus a little bit.
There was a couple annuals.
You get a handful of annuals. That book alone, if you were to track down the original issues, it would cost you millions of dollars. So that's out of the question. With the archives and the hardcovers and the chronological softcover books that DC's been doing, they only cover the first couple of years of the book, maybe the first 5-6 years. That they have these huge jumps. The fact of the matter is, continuity did not really matter until you hit about, with DC, it really didn't matter till after Crisis on Infinite Earths. I mean, you got references to other books and the whole Earth 2, the JSA stuff. You did get references, but so many of the books at that point were written for standalone content that there is no real strict continuity. Things changed all the time. As far as Marvel, they had a stricter continuity. So if you start with FF number 1 and you want to read forward, I mean, you can, but you're going to hit, unless you can read 100 comics a day, this will take you years and years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
Now, I shouldn't be talking about this as much as I am. I know there are, specific. I know there are torrents out there of Marvel history chronological. I know this exists. I know people are working on these. I've seen these pop up occasionally when I've seen links to some of the torrent sites. Again, if you want to burn your eyes out on a monitor reading this for 24 hours a day for a year or two, go for it. But it's just, you'd kill yourself before you got a few years into it. I mean, reading even a couple, I'm here 8 hours a day and, at home, and I can't even read a tenth of what's published. There's just no physical way to be able to do this. You're right. The fact of the matter is it does not matter, because stuff gets written out of continuity so often, things get thrown to the side so quickly, things are referenced once and then never referenced again. It's not worth it. Your best bet is to jump in at an issue number 1 of a series or the start of a story arc. You know who Batman is, you know who Superman is, you know who Spider-Man is. If they come across, and this must, I've been reading Spider Island, the most recent arc in Amazing Spider-Man, and they have lots of references to Kane, who's one of the Peter Parker clones from back during the Clone Saga. I never read the Clone Saga stuff. I
never read it either.
So it's like, you just kind of accept it. You're like, Wikipedia, Kane, Spider Island, okay, done. Okay, I know this guy's brief story, just move on. It's like I said, literally impossible.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where, like you said, jump in wherever, because that's basically what it is you know who these characters are. Just go with it. If secondary characters or even third tier or fourth tier characters, those are the ones where you can do a little bit of research on Wikipedia, like you said, like Kane, right? Yeah. Well, Kane technically came back a couple of years ago in a story arc out of Brand New Day.
All right.
So he's been back a couple times, or at least once. But it's one of those things where, like, when I came back 4 years ago, now, Jesus, been here 4 years, shoot me now. I kind of just jumped in. Like, I liked Batman, so I asked you where to jump in. You said, well, this is a good story, this is a good story, and this is a good story. And honestly, it boils down to, their stories. Read for the chunk of the story. I jumped in with Long Halloween and Dark Victory and Haunted Night with Batman, which they're miniseries. They're not in the actual book. But that's the thing is it's just a nice kind of way to jump in. I mean, then I read Hush, and I didn't need to know where Batman was at the time.
Right.
I just kind of jumped in. I mean, I understand with some things, like for me, like Resurrection Man, I needed a little bit of back history on him before I got in the book. And I don't really do that much research when I read. I ask you a question, you give me a blup, and I'm done. Like, I didn't know Body Doubles was a Resurrection Man thing.
Yeah, they're back from the original series.
So yeah, it's... I mean, you can do it, but... Yeah, it's... I would say do it with obscure titles, like you did with New Warriors, where you went and you got all the issues and you bound them, or where I went with Booster.
But even that, the level of reading literally everything. So one of my things when I got this New Warrior issues bound, my thought was, do I bind basically all the appearances?
Yeah.
And that would have been 100 books.
Yeah.
100 books of comics, because every single one of those characters appears in every single major crossover Marvel has in the background of some other thing. Like, there's just no physical way to do it. You're so much better off just getting a trade paperback, starting there, reading there. Start with a book like Ultimate Spider-Man, where there really is only 170 issues or so, and that is all collected. You are able to get that is the first appearance of that character, or a more recent book like like I Vampire. There's a trade coming out that collects, I think, a good chunk of the old stuff that was in the new DC previews that just hit today. And then you have this new I Vampire. I really don't think this character ever appeared again. Yeah. So
well, based on that, do you think that's also maybe why Vertigo sells so well?
No, well, Vertigo stuff sells really well, especially in trade paperback, because it is done in their one-shot stories that don't continue forever unless you're Fables
or Hellblazer.
They have beginning, middle, and ends, and yeah. All right, so let's move on.
Good luck reading millions of comic books.
It's going to be like that episode of The Twilight Zone. He's going to drop his glasses. He finally gets time to read all the comic books in chronological order. He drops his glasses and they break. No idea.
Well, are you referencing the Alanis Morissette
Twilight
song?
Zone? What? No. Twilight Zone? No. Read a book. Okay. New York Comic Con was this weekend. I faked the out, Brock. I was going to do New York Comic Con last, but we're going to do New York Comic Con first because I got everything.
You have the computer in front of you.
Yeah,
so
I know. That's why I'm going to fake you out.
You do that. Whatever. I don't care.
New York Comic Con was this last weekend, and
just so you know, neither of us went.
Yeah, no, of course. We won't be going to WonderCon next year either, which sucks ass. Some decent news. I mean, there was not anything mind-blowing, but there was a handful of good stuff here. Kind of give you a couple quick hits of stuff that was pretty interesting. Let's see. Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, who do Criminal and Incognito and some really good stuff for Marvel, their Icon universe, as well as, real superhero stuff, but that's not why I like them. They are doing a new book called Fatale, which actually going to be published by Image. A lot of people thought it was going to be Icon, which is Marvel's imprint, but it's actually Image. It is basically the sort of femme fatale idea, which Criminal, Incognito, a lot of these books they've done this kind of crime noir stuff a lot, but it's mixed with Lovecraftian monsters. So, it's Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips. I will read it. I don't care what it is.
I'll give it a look. I mean, I read some of the Criminal stuff and the Incognito stuff, and I wasn't too impressed. I mean, it was okay.
Yeah.
I prefer his Brubaker's Captain America stuff or his Daredevil stuff. Yeah. But I'll give this one a try. It's kind of a new take. Because once you pick up one Criminal, it's pretty much the same, and same thing with Incognito.
Well,
but
I don't know about that. But it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking along the lines of crime, Marvel announced they are going to be doing a Dexter comic book written by Jeff Lindsay, the guy that actually wrote the original Dexter, the novel that Dexter is based off of. We don't talk about non-comic TV shows on here too often, but Dexter is absolutely one of my favorite shows. Brock is a huge fan.
I love Dexter. I mean, Castle just came out. Marvel just came out with Castle.
Yeah.
Which I've watched the first season and I've enjoyed it. But I've really enjoyed Dexter. So yeah, I'm looking. It's written by the same author, so I'll give it a try. I have not read his books, so I don't really know what his writing style is. But
yeah, I haven't read any of the novels either. But it's actually cool that the guy writing the novel is going to be working on is actually writing the comic, which, you know, as the Dark Knight, the Stephen King Dark Knight and Stan comics have been nice, consistent sellers for us. You know, they don't sell like something if Stephen King was really involved in it. I mean, he is to a degree, but he's not actually writing it or plotting it. He's just very tangentially related to it. You know, it'll be interesting to see what this crossover, or if this crosses over into a more mainstream audience, and then especially with the trade paperbacks. I mean, it could be pretty big.
Game of Thrones has done. That first issue did really, really well.
And that's just an adaptation of it, too. So it's not even like new stories. This is brand new stories in the Dexter universe by the creator of the novel.
Nice.
So that's pretty badass.
Well, isn't there a Burn Notice comic book?
There is a Burn Notice comic that DC and Warner Brothers has on there. It's a digital-only comic. Okay. Actually, I haven't read it. I really want to.
I honestly, I think I won't read it on digital, but my guess is they'll release a trade.
If they do a trade, I'll buy it right away.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing this free little digital comic. It's free, so I mean, you can read it, but I haven't read it yet. But huge Burn Notice fan, so yeah, I'd watch I'd read a Burn Notice comic. Hell, they need to get Andy Diggle and Jock from the Losers for Vertigo. They need to get them to do a Burn Notice comic. That would be badass.
You know what else other comic they should do, which they've been kind of advertising, but they're not doing, is The Big Bang Theory. They should do that as a comic book. God. My girlfriend would love that.
No.
Yes.
No. They've done this ad in the back of their thing, so they have this Big Bang Theory, like, superhero, but no. It's terrible. It's the worst show ever. Now I'm actually trying to think. I'm trying to find out who the hell did this Burn Notice comic book. Why can't I find this out? Come on, Internet. Why don't you tell me?
Because the Internet lies.
No, the Internet doesn't lie.
Yes, it does. Wikipedia doesn't have full, complete entries. And it changes.
Yeah, I guess it does. I don't know. I can't... Why am I like... it's penned by Ryan Johnson, Burn Notice writer, and Peter Lelenis, who is also who is the script coordinator for the show, illustrated by Tony Chastain. I have no idea who that is. And it's overseen by Burn Notice showrunner Matt Nix. So cool. Yes.
Maybe Tony's the guy that does the storyboards for the episodes, and they just decided to do a comic book.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. Other big news from Comic-Con. DC officially announced they will be doing the Superman Earth 1 Volume 2 book by J. Michael Straczynski and Shane Davis. Cool.
You know what I'd really like to see?
What's that?
That John's Batman Earth 1 book that was supposed to come out.
Oh, it's coming. It's on the list for... It's not like... not in previews yet, but it is coming soon. Okay. It's going to be here, I think, before this.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was really looking forward to that Batman after reading that Superman one.
Yeah, I think, most people that I talked to seem to like that Earth one. I mean, I definitely talked to people that didn't care for it, but a lot of the people I talked to liked it. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see with the new things they've done now for the new 52, if they're going to incorporate any of that into this, or
I would honestly like just to see them
just keep it totally
separate.
Yeah, I mean that would be the best way, but
just
I'm not
like,
sure exactly how they go about doing it.
The Batman Noel book that's coming out.
Oh yeah, that's coming out in November, I think. Yeah, it's the same guy. That's same guy that did. It's not Brian Azzarello, but it's the same artist.
Yeah, same artist who did Joker.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I like books like that, straight to graphic novels. Those ones, for me, it's just tell me a story. You're going straight to graphic novel. Just give me a story that I can read. It doesn't need to be in any continuity, or in the Levitz era, or in the new rejiggered 52 era, or whatever.
No, I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be its own thing.
Yeah.
But.
And yes, that Dan, you can count that one.
What's that? What was that?
You interrupted.
That's
okay.
Yeah, that's fine. So,
DC, I noticed, didn't really have much in the way of announcements coming out except for creative changes on books for the New 52 stuff.
They had a few things. There's a couple things we wanted to talk about here real quick. I mean, they announced that Jeff Johns and Gary Frank are going to be doing a Shazam backup in Justice League of America, so that should be pretty cool. A lot of people have been questioning the $3.99 price point on Action and JLA, and I think we're now getting these backup strips instead of just the art content and the sketches and creative stuff.
I don't know if you find this, if you agree with this or not, but I found that when they did it before with, Metal Men and The Question and a couple other characters, and like Blue Beetle, I think, was in the back of a couple of them. I didn't mind that they did that because it kind of gave me something I could see if I was interested in.
Yeah, DC has tried the backups a few times. They tried it back in the 70s, and it never really sticks. I think the problem is the people that want the backup strips don't like paying $3.99, in this case, $3.99 for basically an 8-page story.
Yeah.
The people that only want the front stuff would rather pay $2.99 and not have the backup strips. I remember one of our customers told me for Captain America he would pay $4.99 to not have the Bucky backup that ran in Captain America, which the girl Bucky backup.
Oh God, that was so bad.
I didn't even. I tried. I maybe read the first part.
I tried 2 parts. After that, I wanted to just rip my eyes out.
Yeah, I think I did pretty good on all the DC backups. The only one I had to start skipping because it was just terrible was the Liberty Bell Hourman backup.
I never read that one.
With the icicle and all that.
Because that was in
JSA All-Star.
That was in JSA All-Star, but I never picked that up.
It was just bad.
I couldn't stand the Metal Men.
Oh, what?
Backup. That was horrid.
Get off this podcast. Are you ridiculous?
Yes, I am ridiculous.
The Metal Men backup?
I couldn't get into the last installment of Metal Men when they had that 8-issue series. Was it?
Yeah.
8 issues? I couldn't get into it then, and I couldn't get into the backup because the Metal Men to me have always been either way too corny and trying to get jokes or way too acid trippy intelligence.
You know who did the backup story, right?
No.
You know who did the Metal Men?
No, please enlighten me, Mr. In front of the computer.
It is Keith Giffen, Jam DeMatteis, and there's the entire creative team on Justice League International.
Yeah, I know. It's still sometimes you hit it, sometimes you don't.
Wow. Metal Men was hilarious.
I couldn't.
Hilarious.
See, I'm not into a lot of those slapstick, hilarious kind of books. I don't like Deadpool. I don't read anything that just is for humor in comic books.
Well, there was action too, but that was so good.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, I like the Question backup, and I like the Legion backup. That was really good.
Yeah.
I can understand where people don't want the backups. I mean, if a book's already $3.99 and you get something thrown in there, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
But if it was the book was $2.99 and then it went to $3.99 with this, then I could understand people going, well, why am I paying an extra $1 for something I don't want? Or why am I paying, or why am I paying because I want to just read this?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that it's a good way to kind of get things out there, like Shazam. I think it's a good way to introduce Shazam into, the continuity and try and getting us, seeing how well it does.
Well, I assume in this case, we're probably getting Earth S and Earth 5 Shazam. I don't think it's going to be the Shazam in the main DC universe. Seems like they've taken a lot of that stuff out. The JSA is going to be on Earth 2, which is kind of the alternate reality where they were from. Shazam, originally they put on Earth S or Earth 5. I'm assuming that's where this is going to take place. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will have it be in the regular DC universe, but I kind of figure they're not.
Well, I mean, if they're doing the Justice Society on Earth 2 for that and keeping... What they're doing is they're kind of separating the old kind of characters from the new characters, in a sense.
Right.
Where I think that's a really good thing to do, because I think part of the problem with Justice Society over the past few years is that once they came over here, it was just too much. You had Justice League of America, you had, Justice League International, you had Justice League Europe, you have the Justice Society of America, you have the Justice, there's just all of these characters that are thrown together, and it doesn't really seem... I mean, I know what they did with Justice Society, where they took it and it was the older characters training the younger generation of heroes. But I think that having it separate, where we have those kind of golden age characters back in a world of their own, kind of will give, the older readers, the ones that grew up on that stuff, kind of a nice, new take on stuff that they used to read. And if, it's good, then newer readers will pick it up and enjoy kind of that look back onto the old, kind of golden age of comic books.
Sure.
Whereas with Shazam, if they take it and they take Shazam and, he's in another, just drop Shazam either on Earth 2 or in whatever the rejiggered 52 is. Just give us that Shazam. Don't throw it, Don't give us another Shazam from another, because once they started doing all that, this is Earth Prime, this is Earth 1, Earth 2, Earth 3, Earth 5, Earth 27. Once we started getting kind of convoluted characters coming over from there, I think that's where it lost a lot of its muster. Whereas if they're separate, they're really, really good. Like, what was it, Gotham by Gaslight?
Yeah.
Or those Elseworld stories where we kind of get this nice little quick vignette of Age of Apocalypse world.
Well, that's different, making the Elseworlds tie into the main universe. Even when the 52 stuff was first coming out, the original 52, and they brought back the multiverse and all that. I love the concept of the multiverse, but limiting it to 52 multiverses, I thought was kind of always a little weak, because all those and things like the Elseworlds are not supposed to be alternate realities; they're just supposed to be different takes on the characters. So whatever. Other DC stuff, they actually premiered the first couple of minutes of the Green Lantern animated series there. I can't get into the animation. Well, okay, let me take that back. I like the animation for everyone except for the human beings. They just seem like everything looks like a action figure. It looks like a doll. It kind of reminds me of the stuff they use for the Star Wars Clone Wars, which, again, I like except for when they show the human characters. I think the human characters look kind of goofy. But it looks pretty fun. I'm actually, I will watch this. It's Green Lantern. It looks pretty cool. But, just wondering what they're going to do for...
I'll check it on a DVD or something. Yeah. I mean, a lot of that cartoon stuff, I actually need to start procuring for, my son when he gets older. But, also so I can enjoy it.
Of course.
Myself. But, funny thing. It came up yesterday... not the mama.
Jesus, what the heck?
And they actually have them on DVD.
Yeah, from the show
Dinosaurs.
Good Lord.
I'm like, oh my God. My girlfriend was like, put it on Amazon. We got to get it. I was like,
Lord.
Oh God.
That's a Netflix rental.
Hey, that went on for 4 seasons.
Yeah, I know it did. Trust me. Marvel had a couple outside that Dexter announcement. They had a couple sort of fairly big announcements and some big teases. One of their things is last week or 2 weeks ago, all the retailers got this postcard that said, "It's coming," and in the background you could pretty clearly see fire. Marvel has about one thing that's important that deals with fire, and that's the Phoenix, which is the old Jean Grey, Chris Claremont, John Byrne character who destroyed a whole bunch of planets, I guess one planet, and destroyed a whole bunch of people. And she later died, and they brought Jean Grey back, and then she died again, and they brought her back, and she died again. She's pretty much been dead ever since now. Unclear if this is just the Phoenix Force returning, or if this is Jean Grey coming back. I would assume it's just the Phoenix Force, because they just show the Phoenix entity on this new, fully revealed piece of artwork here. But
in the Uncanny X-Men and X-Men titles, they've kind of been hinting to this,
Well, they've been playing up a lot of Phoenix, or a lot of Jean Grey in Hope, who was the new kid.
Yeah, Generation Hope.
Yeah, well, her name is Hope. They brought her back, she's like the first mutant born, and she went into the future with Cable and came back. She's grown up, and of course, every important person in the X-Men has to have red hair. So a lot of people are like, oh, is Hope the rebirth of Jean Grey? And that'd be a little creepy because Wolverine and Cyclops probably both want to have sex with her then. So, yeah, I don't know. Actually, she may be 18. I don't know how old Hope is.
Seriously?
But it's wrong either way. Oh, I'm just saying. It's wrong either way.
Just stop.
So yeah, that's the Phoenix is coming back in the upcoming .1 one shot.
Yeah, hopefully it's not an epic fail.
Oh, I have a believe. I believe there will be a few parts, at least one part within the .1 book that is in fact an epic fail. So we'll just leave that at that. Other news: Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley will be launching a brand new. All-new ongoing Avengers book. That makes 3 Avengers books that Brian Michael Bendis is writing.
Yeah, and isn't it getting relaunched about the same time the Avengers movie comes out?
Well, it's not a relaunch, so they're continuing all the Avengers books. This is a 5th new title. This is a completely new title. So people will be writing the Avengers, New Avengers, and Avengers Assemble. And Avengers Assemble features Captain America, Iron Man, Hawkeye, Black Widow, and the Hulk. And I don't see Thor on here, but I would assume he's going to be in here. That team seems a little specific, but yes, it is a new ongoing Avengers title, just in time for the Avengers movie. It's funny, Bendis, let's see if I can find the quote here. He says something about here, like, well, it's just, I don't know how to say this without being mean. I like Bendis. I think most of the stuff he writes is fine. I'll go fine. I'll go first.
You go first.
And most of the stuff Bendis writes is fine. But writing 3 ongoing monthly Avengers books, like is there no one else that can write at Marvel? Like, I just don't get this.
When you said that there's another Avengers book coming out by Bendis and Bagley, and you know what I had envisioned in my head? I envisioned me standing up and screaming and walking around and yelling really loud, and breaking things, going, why are you doing this? This is like Avengers West Coast Avengers. It's like Spotlight Avengers. It's like, we don't need 50 bajillion Avengers books. We need the Avengers title.
Yeah, well, I'm okay. You want to give, like, I think the books all sort of have their own spot right now. The Avengers is the big, cosmic, big JLA level Avengers book. The only problem is Fear itself has completely killed any momentum that book had to being big and cosmic and crazy. It's basically just they're fighting some guys, whatever, no one cares. New Avengers, you get the sort of street
New
level
Avengers
guys.
is the who would I like on an Avengers team
right,
book.
Exactly. And I don't mind the street level guys. New Avengers is actually my favorite of all the Avengers stuff.
I don't read it.
Avengers Academy, okay, you want a team of kid Avengers, you want a new group, okay, I give you that. Secret Avengers, you kind of want to grab an Avengers team that's no Avengers characters except for Steve Rogers, and I don't even know if he's going to be on the book anymore because he's gone now.
Don't ask me. I dropped it.
So it's like, okay, you want all these weird characters to be like temporary Avengers when in a time of need. Okay, I kind of give you got 4 very distinct styles between these 4 books. I'll give this to you. I'll let you have this. But this 5th book, by the same guy who's writing 2 of them, I don't think that tone's going to be really any different than the others.
You ready? So, Avengers is like Uncanny X-Men. And then New Avengers is like X-Men. And then you have Avengers Assemble, which is like New Mutants. And then you have Secret Avengers, which is like X-Force. And the only one you're missing is X-Factor. So you have to have another book.
Well, so here
this is the X-Mening of.
Oh, it totally is
the Avengers, and then they're having an X-Men Avengers crossover.
Well, sort of. Here's the quote I was looking for. I know this is Brian Michael Bendis saying this. I know there will be some people going, "He's writing 3 Avengers books." Is this what I'm hearing? And the answer is yes. There are people that are annoyed that I'm writing any Avengers books, but the idea that I'm writing 3 should delight them. The fact that I'm annoyed that I'm writing any Avengers books, but the idea that I'm writing 3 should delight them. That's what he said. That doesn't make any sense. As for those of you who are annoyed at me when I'm writing 2, you have to appreciate on some level how obnoxious I'm being. There's got to be a level where you go, you know what? I've got to give it to him. That's completely obnoxious. It's not half-assed obnoxious. And then he says, I'm not going to be in these books forever. That'd be crazy, or that'd be insane. But we do have huge plans for the upcoming year, though. It's not just half-assed obnoxious. It's just annoying. Like, I love the Avengers. I think the Avengers under Bendis has not been the Avengers. I would like to read and buy an Avengers comic that is the Avengers of a more classic standing, that's not written like a Brian Michael Bendis book. So, cool, but whatever. Like, I have no interest in this, so that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I stopped following Brian Michael Bendis on Google+. I just got sick and tired of him posting stupid crap.
I'm gonna drop you on Google+, bitch. All right. I think that's all our news. In order to keep this
the Avengers trailer that came out
from New York Comic Con news. In order to keep this episode fairly limited here, we'll just quickly talk about two other quick subjects.
Don't jinx it.
Two other quick subjects. One, the Avengers trailer premiered last week for the upcoming movie. Trailer was pretty terrible. Not quite as bad as the comic books, but it was still pretty... this trailer did nothing for me. And this is not just me being a Marvel hater. It seriously felt like they took the 5 scenes they had finished shooting and they just threw a trailer together for it.
It's the extended teaser.
Right, there was no plot, there was no action, there was no story.
It's just joke after joke after joke.
It just tells me nothing. So I guess it's fine. When that first Green Lantern trailer came out, I thought, okay, you get some characterization, you get a little bit, but it didn't really give you a lot. And the later trailers came out and they were great. This is sort of along the same line where it's just this weird teaser and it just didn't work for me.
Well, I guess they premiered 7 minutes of the film
was it that long?
At New York Con, something like that, yeah. It was a scene with the Hulk and Black Widow.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce Banner and Black Widow. I'm interested in seeing the Avengers movie. I mean, it's definitely going to be, a big budget film. Why did I just say that? That sounds dumb.
Of course it's going to be a big budget film. Well, this is actually one of the concerns that I know a lot of people have. I think Joss Whedon, who's the director on the movie, I like his dialogue, I like his characterization, but he's not known for action. My only concern with having Joss Whedon do the Avengers is the action going to be kind of limited and the pun and quirky dialogue.
Well, have you seen Serenity?
No, but I mean, it's not Avengers level summer blockbuster action left in.
No, I mean,
I've seen Firefly. I mean, I've seen the show. There's bits of action in it. There's bits of action in Buffy, but he is not an action guy. I mean, he's not Michael Bay, right? So, not that Avengers needs to be a Michael Bay film. I'm just saying, is it going to be all dialogue and quirky conversation based, or is it going to be action? You need to have both really be kind of a focus.
Well, I think what you're getting at is you want a good action movie that has everything in it. And honestly, one of the only action movies that I've ever thought was well-rounded like that was True Lies, where you had a lot of action, but you had enough kind of...
True Lies had, funny dialogue.
Yeah, funny dialogue, but it was full of action. It good back and forth. One of the best scenes is, was it Dan who's it? It's not Dan Aykroyd. Who was his buddy? I know who you're talking about. I'm talking about? Yeah. And he gets shot at, and he hides behind the pole, and then he pats himself down, checks his crotch, and then kisses the pole. It's one of those things where action films have to have a little bit of humor to them. At some point. Tom Arnold. That's it. Iron Man had a good mix. The first film had a really good mix. Batman. Batman Begins and Batman The Dark Knight, they did have some moments where there was a little bit of humor in there. Not like...
Batman Begins and Dark Knight, very, very little. I mean, Joker humor, but that's that's funny. That's more fucked up.
Yeah, but that's the thing is they had little changes of pace with what was going on in it. What the hell are you staring at?
I'm trying to find my pick of the week.
Oh, Jesus. You're jumping that far ahead?
Nah, we're almost done.
No, we're not. We still got to talk about tomorrow's release.
Yeah, the only other big thing coming out, I'm sure all of you will be playing tomorrow. I'll be playing it about a week or so when mine shows up from Amazon, is the release of Arkham City, the new Batman game from Rocksteady and Warner Brothers. The scores have ranged from the greatest game ever and up. It's getting like 95 to 100%, like on every review I've seen.
Batman Arkham Asylum was a very solid game.
Oh,
I mean, I just recently played through again the Game of the Year edition, and I still found it fun to play.
Oh, yeah.
After beating it once already. I still enjoyed going through it.
Yeah,
and
everything I'm hearing. Everything I'm hearing is this is as good as it gets. So I'm very excited to actually sit down and play. So
I'm gonna play before you.
That's fine. I decided to opt out for the Yellow Lantern Batman skin. I went for the the 360 version. So
I got it when I pre-ordered. Well, I got the Robin.
Yeah, no, I didn't go for the PS3 version.
I bought Green Lantern to get the Yellow Lantern skin.
You know, we'll actually talk about Green Lantern next week. So
God, that menu was... What menu?
Oh, my God.
It's like I bought some cheap indie freaking DVD.
You're
so horrible.
Worst
At least X-Men had some motion in its menu.
Jesus. Why? So real quick here before we go to our random picks of the week. Brock doesn't like the Green Lantern Blu-ray because the menu does not have motion in it. If you think Brock is a raging lunatic and should stop having opinions, you should write us at thecomic.conspiracy@geekbox.net or go on www.geekbox.net.
It doesn't need to move. It just bleed into it, like zoom out from the picture or something.
Or contact us forum.
Or have like some beam of light flickering.
Where you could send
the poster.
Where you can send us a message and tell us on a scale of 1 to 10 how insane Brock is for not liking a movie because of the title.
So the first two people who are gonna reply to this are Kenzo and Liquid, right?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. Arkham City. We'll talk more after we've actually played some.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. I can't wait. So excited. Yeah.
So should we say what the Green Lantern's all about or no?
No. We'll talk Green Lantern next week.
We always say that.
Tell you how awesome, even more awesome the movie is.
Oh dear God!
With the extended cut.
Yeah, the extended cut.
Yeah, we'll discuss this
garbage.
Next week. Brock, what's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week.
I'm still looking.
You're still looking? Seriously?
Yeah, I think I ran out of every book I actually like. I have to start finding other books now. Be like, I kind of recommend this.
I'm not really sure. Honestly,
I think we're just gonna have to start doing. Sorry to interrupt you for the time this podcast.
50 bajillion times.
I think we're gonna have to start picking like a trade instead of like y'all like all of Sandman. Just like pick one because that'll let us.
Okay, fine. I'll start. So I highly recommend everyone go out and try and find a copy. They do have like a second print or a second run copy from Sandman, but The Sound of Her Wings, which is Sandman number 8. Really, really great single issue Sandman story about
First Appearance of
Death, where Death and her brother Morpheus, Sandman, go on a talk and go on her rounds, so to speak. But really, really well written. One of my most favorite Sandman stories of all time. So if you can find a copy of Sandman number 8, the story is called The Sound of Her Wings.
Yeah, when I meant like one book, I didn't mean like one single issue from an old comic.
Shut your face.
You just say Preludes and Nocturnes, which is the first trade of Sandman. It collects the first 7 issues plus The Sound of Her Wings. But that's fine. You can pick whatever you want, Brock. I don't care.
But that's a bad pick because it's the first trade.
That's fine.
You should pick a random trade from it. Why would you pick the first one? Why don't you pick another one?
You have to start somewhere. We can, maybe I'll pick up Preludes and Nocturnes.
Beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, see, we're off our game. We haven't done a real episode in like a month.
Yeah,
so let's get back on this. I'm actually going to recommend Batwoman Elegy, which is the only trade that's come out so far of the Batwoman stuff. That was
the first story arc with her.
Yeah, it was her run in Detective Comics.
Was that the run that had the Alice in Wonderland chick?
Right.
Okay.
Whoops. It ran from 854 to 860 in Detective Comics. It was written by Greg Rucka with art by J.H. Williams. This is the kind of... Although she had appeared in numerous other books prior to this.
She was in 52 and
they brought her back in 52.
So
right, so this character had appeared in a few. This is sort of the first main story of the new Batwoman character. real good. J.H. Williams' art is absolutely incredible. If you've been reading the new, if you've checked out the first 2 issues of the new series, you have to go back and read this.
Yeah, this is
because it makes no sense.
Yeah,
this is completely a continuation from that run. There was actually a Batwoman number 0 that came out recently, prior to the launch of this, that gives more backstory. So track that down. A lot of shops. We actually, and DC was calling around telling stores, "Hey, we have copies of this." I ordered a bunch for the store because we were out for a long time. So,
yeah, I think I think a good point. You make a good point about that Batwoman stuff. Is my girlfriend actually tried reading it and she didn't get into it.
It's hard. Well, J.H. Williams, I love his art style, but it is something that if you are
not inexperienced,
right. If you are new to comics, his art style and his panel layouts can make it a little difficult to read because of the way he designs his work. He did the Batman Black Glove arc as well with Grant Morrison, and again, Grant Morrison's very different way of storytelling mixed with J.H. Williams' very different style of art made it one of my personal favorite books of all time, but I totally get why people had issues with the panel layouts and the flow. Batwoman uses lots of really experimental panel layouts, but I just absolutely one of my favorite books of all time. I'm sorry, the Black Glove, but Batwoman stands up there with that. Greg Rucka's a fantastic writer.
Actually, a lot of those last few story arcs from Detective are really good.
Well, you had this, and then you had the Snyder stuff.
Yeah, then you had the Snyder stuff. So, I mean, even before that, there was a couple of good stories. But I think Detective, before it was relaunched, had a lot of good. It kind of harkened back to detective stories where it's actually telling us a story where you're being a detective, you're figuring out what's going on. And I liked the feel of that towards the end, and hopefully it'll keep going throughout the book.
Yeah, I assume they will. So, great book. Should definitely check it out if you've read any of the new Batwoman stuff. So, all right, Brock, we're going to end this episode now.
Seriously? I don't get to berate you for being a jackass and a horrible friend?
That's what the forums for. Oh, you're talking about the Legion of Superhero figures. Yeah, jerk. Go for it, whatever, it's fine.
So there was these Legion of Superhero figures that are coming out from DC Universe, which they're being not released as 2 waves of figures, they're being released as a set of figures. So me, in my wisdom, kind of knew that
it's $180, keep this in mind.
Interrupting me again, jackass.
That's what I'm here for.
I know. So they released it as a set for $180. I knew that this was going to be big because it's a set. It's not a wave where, it's not the way they normally release it. It's a set. So I knew this was going to be difficult. I asked you last week if you would get it so I would get you the money for it. And did you order it for me?
I did not.
Yep. And what did you tell me?
You should have given me the money ahead of time. So, here's the real situation.
Yeah.
MattyCollector.com, Mattel's online website, they do these action figures that you can only get through their site. Pretty soon, it's going to be them. They're going to completely cut out the stores and the distributors. Yeah. It's not. It really sucks for the fans. When they release DC figures, they never sell out of these DC figures. It's so rare that they do, and it's so rare that they sell out of this stuff. And at $180 for Legion of Superhero figures, most people assume this is something they were going to be discounting at 50% off 6 months from now because they couldn't sell them. They looked really cool. There was some excitement for them, but there's no way in hell these things were going to sell. And so I was like, yeah, whatever. Just buy it later. I'll give you the money, and I'll put it on the store card or something. Like, we'll figure something out. Well, lo and behold, they sold out in 3 hours. Literally no one saw this coming. The Matty Collector Facebook page is like, are you kidding me? Like, this thing sold out already? Like, no one could believe this sold out so fast. The only thing I could think of is they made literally a couple hundred of these, and that was it. I mean, there's no way this could possibly sell out this fast if they made thousands and thousands. There's just literally not enough people in the world that would buy this thing. The fact that this sold out means they're either holding stuff back to reissue, to re-release them later. Oh, back in stock, the sold-out Legion set. Or they seriously just massively underprinted and only printed a couple hundred.
I think it's a massive underprinting. Because Legion has always had, I mean, we've even talked about Legion being very confusing and convoluted and hard to get into. And so releasing a figure set necessarily wouldn't, you would you make enough to kind of make sure that the fans of the series got it, but it's not something that you're trying to pump like they're doing with their DC Direct stuff, which is the main characters and all that stuff.
Right.
So, I think it was more of a case of, it printed this much, let's whatever. But, you take something like this that's only in a set. And that was my thing, is if they did it in waves, then I could kind of see it be what you said before. Oh, look, there are Legion figures that are back in stock. But they did it as a set.
But even the other sets they've done have not sold out. The 3-packs never sell out.
Yeah, but it's not a 3-pack. What? Lantern?
They've done like the Legion. There was the 3 3¾ JLU Legion 4-pack. There was like or 4 set. It was 4 individual figures. I mean, that never sold out, or if it did, it took forever. And they have this stuff at cons. Yeah, it's something fishy. They're going to reissue it. They're going to put out more. So you got lucky. You got a customer.
I got lucky. Thank you for the listener/customer who came in today and said, "Oh, I ordered an extra one. Do you just want to buy the extra one off me?" I'm like,
"Yeah,
awesome."
Yeah.
So Ryan's going to give me half of it, and I'm going to come up with the rest.
What?
What?
That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
All right.
Outro time.
We're done now. As I said earlier, if you want to call on Yellow Brock for disliking a movie because of his hatred of the menu, now I could get like if the menu like spoils the movie or something, but it's just a static shot. It's just a static image shot of Hal Jordan.
It's not it's a picture. It's like looking at the wallpaper on your freaking computer screen for months before the movie came out. That's like it. That's it.
I see.
You couldn't do a little bit of movement. Nothing.
What? No.
You couldn't have like this a couple lanterns flying in and passing.
If I had a complaint about the Blu-ray, it said it took like a minute to
it takes forever to load that shit.
A literal minute to load. Plus, you have to skip like 12 previews before you get to the menu, and you can't just skip to the top menu. That was fucking annoying. Yeah. But besides that, the movie's fantastic. So if you want to yell at Brock, the Comic Conspiracy at geekbox.net, you can tell him how much he sucks on there for hating the Green Lantern because of the still image on.
Hey, I still at the end of that movie I said boring.
Yeah, okay. If you want to tell me how awesome I am for liking Green Lantern, you can send the same. Or you can go on forums at geekbox.net and you can talk there about how fantastic the Green Lantern movie extended cut is. It's so much better than the original. The original was already pretty damn good. If you want to visit the store and bring us copies of the Green Lantern Blu-ray we can give to Brock, make him watch it over and over and over again. We're in Sunnyvale. You can find us on the internet and meet us there.
Please don't send us that. I don't need any more.
Oh, okay. Enough ragging on you for not liking one of the best movies ever filmed in the history of
See, I don't understand. I don't understand what? You. You are like
now. I'm just trolling.
Now you're just trolling. Don't worry. I don't understand. It's like The Dark Knight is the ultimate comic book movie to you.
It is. Yeah.
And yet you're sitting here toting Green Lantern like it's on the same level.
I'm not. Green Lantern was a fun movie, though.
Fun?
It was. Green Lantern was absolutely a fun movie.
I like the stuff on Oa.
Maybe we'll talk some Green Lantern Blu-ray next week.
Yeah, because I actually need to watch the Jeff Johns.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of the special stuff yet. So. Okay, we're going to finally end this episode. I haven't pimped this for the last few episodes. We need to do this now. One, if you read digital comics, you can go on digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. There's also a link on the Geekbox website.
There's a link on conspiratorbrock.blogspot.com,
which is Brock's blog. You can buy digital comics through there. Currently, no Marvel. I think that's something that's going to fix. The last number I heard was about 40% of comic books released are also available day and date digitally. That number will just keep growing. So
Image has been really good. I know Severed's been available.
Yeah.
Day and date digital. The Vertigo books, some of their titles are.
Vertigo starts completely really soon.
Yeah.
So if you want to support the store, you can go there. If you're a fan of digital comics, we do take mail orders as well, which is always better because companies, we make more money. The comic companies make more money off that stuff too. So it's always great. Yeah. I don't know. Is that it? I think we're done. Oh, the other thing we forgot to mention.
We always forget to mention.
We had that Suicide Squad episode a few weeks back.
Yes.
We still have the complete run of Suicide Squad, all the specials, minis, the second series, a whole run. Anyone that leaves a comment a review of us from the episode, the time we aired it, till October 31st, we will choose one winner to get the entire set. Maybe I'll choose an extra winner, throw a trade their way or something. Leave your best review, 5-star only, please. Actually, if you hate us, you can leave a 1-star, but I'm not gonna
pick
you because you're an asshole.
Yeah, I actually need to go on there and look at those reviews.
There's been a couple good ones. You got there's some competition. There's one I'm edging for right now. There's one that's just pretty cool. So I'm kind of this guy's my front runner. So we'll see. I don't want to give it away. We'll see what happens over the next 2 weeks. So there's like 100 comic books. You want 100 comic books? Leave us a 2-sentence message on iTunes about how much you love the podcast, and you could win. All right. We just broke that hour-long mark, but hopefully it's a little under this after I edit it down. We will talk to everyone next week.
Later.